Are you struggling to make sense of what was done to you? Here, you will find many details to help you to understand so that you can get them out of your head and out of your life. Welcome to Psycho Begun. If you've ever complained about something your partner did and somehow ended up apologizing to them, if you constantly question your own memory, if you feel lost without someone else confirming your reality, that's not weakness, that's gaslighting. Let's look at how it actually works and why it worked on you. Hi there, I'm David McDermott, and I want to examine the conditions that have to be in place for gaslighting to work. If you tried to gaslight other people, whether it's the manipulator in your life or somebody else, chances are it wouldn't work very well. So why did it work so well on you? I know manipulators would often tell you straight away about the awful childhood they had and the previous abusive relationships they've been through, and you end up believing it. But they're just pure lies. That's not what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is best thought of as a direct and repeated attack on your perception of reality. So, for example, you talk about something that happened, and the psychopath or narcissist either denies it happened or distorts it and tells you that your memory is wrong. They may rewrite conversations, telling you that they've related some story or instruction to you in the past and you have no recollection of it. They insist that their version is true, even though at some level you know that it never happened. But irrespective of what you say, they refuse to concede. They repeatedly present their version with complete certainty. Over time, that certainty begins to wear you down. But first, a bit of background about abusive relationships. The first thing is that there is a power imbalance. They're taking advantage of the power imbalance in various ways to program you, to manipulate you. After some amount of time in the relationship with them, they've changed all sorts of things about you. The way you think, the way you make decisions, the way you act, the emotions you experience, the information available to you. Part of the programming is that you are trained to trust them and to believe what they say. Now, this takes some time to set up, so it's typical that the narcissists don't start the gaslighting until they know they have a certain level of control. Gaslighting only works once the control is established. It doesn't create the imbalance, it exploits it. Now, obviously, the first couple of times they try and gaslight you, the natural response is to fight back. You explain that you don't accept what they're saying. In any normal, healthy relationship, there's a debate about who's right or to what extent each person is right. With the narcissist, they don't back down at all. They will insist and push harder, escalating until, in the end, you back down. Not because you believe them, but because you realize it's pointless. There are certain things about the way they actually do the gaslighting that are important. First of all, these people are practiced liars. There's no shame, embarrassment, guilt, remorse, and that means they can lie very, very convincingly. They very often do not have the normal tells of people when they're lying. There may be no change in the tone or volume of their voice, no redness of their cheeks. They may not look away. They can look you straight in the eye and lie to your face. They do this with supreme confidence. This can be very unsettling and causes a lot of doubt. Your brain starts thinking, if they're this certain, maybe I'm wrong. Now, that's not being gullible. That's how cognitive pressure works. The second important factor is the repetition. They will begin to do this a lot. They do it with the same issue over and over and over again until you do begin to actually doubt whether your version is correct or not. You may have had the experience of them convincing you of one thing, and 5 minutes later, they try and convince you of the complete opposite. Each time, they sound and seem completely convinced of the truth of what they are saying. What many people do not understand is that the psychopaths and narcissists are not attached to any particular reality. They can change their beliefs in an instant if it suits them. While you think that you're both looking for reality, the fact is they are not interested in creating understanding or coming to some consensus. They are interested in domination and exploitation. Your goals are completely different. You could be forgiven for coming to the conclusion that there's a problem with the communication in the relationship. But the fact is that the manipulator is quite happy with their communication. Thank you very much. It's functioning perfectly for the result that he or she wants. And what is that? Well, after repetition of the gaslighting enough times, you start to doubt yourself enough that you have to check with somebody else. And who do you check with? The manipulator, of course. Gaslighting works because it shifts your reference point from internal to external. Instead of asking, what did I experience? You start asking, what do they say happened? That switch is the mechanism. You also start to withhold your opinion so as not to be ridiculed. You avoid conflict. You start editing your reactions. In fact, you start editing yourself. You become more cautious, more uncertain. Your self-esteem, your self-respect drops off. You are being forced to adapt yourself to the manipulator. And it really doesn't matter where you start on the self-respect scale. The manipulators force you to become submissive and subservient. For this reason, any advice about building up your self-respect in order to make you invulnerable to the manipulators is doomed to fail. They are much better at destroying your self-confidence than you are at building it up. It's not lack of self-confidence or self-respect that makes people vulnerable. It's lack of knowledge and understanding of manipulation and mind control. This subservient version they create is basically an identity shift. This is why people talk about losing themselves in a relationship. And in a way, they have. They've had to adapt to survive. Now, here are some other important considerations. Gaslighting works on people who care about right and wrong. It works on those who genuinely don't want to hurt others. It works on people who reflect. If it worked on you, that says something about your character. It does not indicate a weakness. The manipulators are not interested in right or wrong. Do they know the difference? Absolutely. But they can choose wrong just as easily as they choose right. Are they concerned about hurting others? That doesn't matter to them as long as they get what they want. So gaslighting is about destabilizing somebody else's certainty. When the manipulators are challenged, they don't turn inwards. They see any challenge as a threat to their domination. Even a perceived threat is enough for them to do whatever it takes to re-establish and maintain that dominance. They attack, they will project, accuse you of what they're doing, position themselves as the victim. And because you are concerned about being fair, you end up questioning yourself. Gaslighting works by creating doubt. If you try it with a manipulator, the doubt does not sink in. It bounces off. And who does it hit? You, of course. For these reasons, trying to gaslight a manipulator is not only ineffective, it puts you at a disadvantage. These individuals have spent years refining manipulation. They are more practiced, more comfortable with distortion. And they recognize attempts at manipulation very quickly. In fact, this is one of the reasons that these types can often have a paranoid streak. They know what's possible with manipulation, and they want to control others before others try to control them. The more sophisticated ones, of course, will let you go ahead and try to gaslight them, and then they'll take advantage of you all over again. My suggestion is to think about it this way. Use your clarity and understanding to break free, not to continue to compete or to fight. They've already stolen enough of your time. Trying to win or get even will not restore your power. Any satisfaction you get will last all of 5 minutes. The best revenge is to restore your autonomy so that they no longer occupy your thoughts. The way forward is understanding how the manipulation worked and replacing the patterns they conditioned into you with ones that serve you instead. In the next video, I look at how to recognize gaslighting in real time and how to begin trusting your perceptions again. Mind yourself. Take care.